You ever wondered how to get into real estate investing without all the headaches of managing properties? I know I did until actually a hand injury as a practicing dentist forced me to completely rethink my finances, and it actually opened the door to a whole new world out there called real estate syndications. Now, if you're a busy professional trying to balance work, family, and life, thinking real estate is too complex or too time consuming, guess what? You're not alone. I was right there with you. But here's the secret. Real estate syndications could actually be the hassle-free solution you've been looking for. Imagine getting into real estate without dealing with tenants, toilets, or termites. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what syndications are, how they work, and then I'm going to share my own journey as a practicing dentist, how I got into it, to help you decide if this path could be right for you. Let's get going. First thing we should do is we should answer the question, what exactly is a real estate syndication? Okay, let's start off with the basics, okay? Real estate syndication is nothing more than simply a group investment, okay? It's a group investment. So imagine this. Let's say you want to invest in a large RV park, okay? But you don't have millions of dollars lying around. Most people don't, right? Well, a syndication actually allows multiple investors to come together and they pool their money together. So this actually makes it possible for you and me and other people to actually invest in large scale real estate projects that would otherwise be out of reach for one person alone. Okay. Now let's get into answering the question, who are actually the different players in a syndication? Well, the first is the sponsors or the general partners, okay? This is the key person or the key group who basically manages the property. Not only do they manage it, they pretty much do everything, okay? They're the experts who they find the property, they analyze it, they secure bank financing, they oversee the management, they do everything. So in a way, they're the quote, so we'll go right here, they're the active investors, and they usually invest their own money in these syndications too. So they've got their own skin in the game, and that's very important. That's a good question to ask a group before you invest with them. Hey, do you have skin in the game? Are you putting your own money in the deal? The second type of person is the limited partner, okay? Or basically the passive investor, okay? So these people, they invest passively. They supply their capital to these deals because it's kind of hard to buy real estate without money, right? Okay. What do limited partners do? Well, guess what they don't do? They don't have to manage the property directly. Okay. Again, you would be considered a limited partner, and your job is to simply contribute capital. And again, the sponsor, they handle everything else. Okay. Think of it like this. Imagine an airplane. The sponsor, they're actually the pilot, and the investors, they're the passengers. Okay. All the passengers, they chip in, they buy their ticket, they chip in for the trip, and they get a seat on the plane, right? But the passengers, they're not flying the plane, okay? Their job is to sit back, relax, enjoy the journey. Just like a limited partner, they sit back, relax, and they get their check every quarter. And that's it. Now, why is this ideal for busy professionals? Now, if you've ever considered real estate, but you don't have the time, or you think you don't have the time to manage properties like most of us, then syndications are perfect because, again, you don't have to deal with the day-to-day headache. You're not getting any midnight calls from tenants. You're not dealing with any broken pipes in the middle of the night, and you're not chasing down people that have not paid their rent. Who does this? Again, the sponsors. They handle everything. And this really makes real estate syndications, and you've probably heard the commercial before, the set it and forget it, you know? So this is the set it and forget it type of investment. Again, which is great if you're like me and you're balancing a busy career, family, hobbies, that sort of thing. All right. Now I want to break down the pros and the cons of syndications. Okay. The first pro is probably the number one reason why people get into real estate, and particularly real estate syndications in the first place, is the passive income. We all want passive income, right? So you invest your money, and then the syndication, it generates cash flow from the property, which once you get the cash flow, then the sponsors, they'll pay you on a regular basis. Typically on our group at Streamside Parks, we pay out on a quarterly basis. Some groups pay out monthly, we do quarterly. And it's a great way to earn money without having to actively work for it. Typical dentist, typical doctor, we have to go to work. We have to what? We have to treat patients. We have to trade our time for money. With this, you don't have to. The second pro, and I alluded to it a little bit earlier with the RV parks, is this: you get access to larger deals. Now, you could probably go out on your own and just buy a single family home, a couple $100,000, but you want to buy a $3, $4, $5 million RV park or mobile home park with a syndication. You have the access to this. It allows you access to larger deals, larger commercial properties, large apartment complexes, self-storage units, mobile home parks, whatever. Again, that would be too expensive for just the typical individual investor. And the third pro of real estate syndications in general, something that a lot of us don't think about, but which is huge when it comes to real estate, are the tax benefits. Okay. There's something called, and the number one tax benefit that you get with real estate syndications is something called depreciation. You probably have heard your accountant toss this word around before, okay? Now, depreciation can actually offset the income that you're going to get from these investments. Meaning what? Meaning that you pay less in taxes. Again, I'm not an accountant, check with yours if you invest in these types of properties, but they should be the ones to help you navigate this. It's very easy, okay? And then when the property is sold, you'll often pay lower capital gains taxes instead of having to turn around and having to pay your ordinary income tax, okay? And then diversification, okay? Real estate, remember, it doesn't matter if the stock market's up or stock market's down. So it could be a great way to diversify your portfolio. So let's put this down here. We'll add diversification. Most people, probably you, are probably in the stock market. Again, this allows you a way to diversify your portfolio. All right, but like with any investment, there's always cons, there's always downsides to consider. Con number one, these types of investment, typically real estate in general, are illiquid. They're not like stocks that you can just buy and sell quickly. You can actually go to your phone right now and do that on apps with Robinhood or whatever. So in these types of projects, your money could be tied up anywhere from 3 to 7 years. Typically, the average is 5 years. Number two, risk. As with any investment, there's always some level of risk, even in the stock market, right? So you have to really know and trust the sponsor. That is the most important part of this whole type of investment right here. Knowing who you're dealing with, knowing who you're putting your money with. That's it. There's always the possibility that the property might not perform as expected. But if you have a good sponsor, they're the ones that can help with that. If you have a bad sponsor, they can ruin a good property. So again, that is the most important thing. And then number three, con, is limited control. So once you invest and you wire your money or you send an ACH transfer, you typically don't, it's gone, okay? It's in the account, sponsors start to use it. And remember, with these projects, you don't get a say in how the property is managed. Now, if you go out and you buy your own single family home, you can do whatever you want. But in a group investment, and they're the ones that the sponsor is the one that's in control, remember? So if you're somebody who likes control, you have to be in control of everything. This could be a drawback. This is probably not a good investment for you, okay? Now, I'm gonna talk to you very briefly about my personal experience, okay? And how I got started in the real estate syndication space. After learning about syndications, I actually started off as a limited partner. And I started off in different asset classes, apartments, self-storage, short-term rentals, etc. And if you've invested in any types of these asset classes, you've probably noticed this, something that's really negatively affecting, especially many apartment owners right now, is the astronomical increase in insurance rates. These people, they're getting 4 to 8x increase in insurance rates with no claims filed, okay? It's gone up so much that many of the apartment syndicators out there, they can barely pay their bills, much less distribute money to their investors, okay? So think about that. So if you're in any types of these investments and they're not paying, now I'm not saying that you're losing money, the property's still appreciating and it's going to be sold and that sort of thing, but they've had to shut off their distribution. Luckily, I actually connected with a sponsor that was in the RV park space. And at that time, he owned 2 RV parks with another dentist. And then since then, and connecting with him, we've now invested in over 25 RV parks. And we have yet, to this day, we have yet to miss a distribution payment to any of our investors. Why? Well, one of the main reasons is what I was just speaking about, insurance. The cost to insure RV parks is astronomically less than apartments. So think about it. Let's say you have a 100-unit apartment complex and let's say you own it. Think about what it costs to insure that. You have to insure it against storm damage, maybe flooding, that sort of thing. If something came through, a hurricane or tornado or something, and damaged it, think about the cost it would be to rebuild that versus an RV park. Well, if you have a tornado or a big storm coming in or a hurricane or whatever, guess what? You just tell your tenants, hey, storm's coming, pack up and move. There's not a lot of structure to damage. Thus, that's why it's a lot cheaper to insure an RV park versus an apartment. Now, as someone that only used to invest in the stock market the first, I'd say 10 to 12 years of getting out my practice, just with mutual funds, I didn't have a clue about real estate. Hurt my wrist, got me thinking, hey, I got to do something in case I can't practice. And which got me into real estate. And the big lesson that I've learned is that with real estate syndications, they're really not as intimidating as they seem. Again, with the right sponsor and doing your due diligence, it's a very powerful way to diversify your investments and then generate what we talked about, that passive income coming in. So if you've ever been curious about real estate, but you just completely felt overwhelmed by the idea of, God, I've got to manage these properties, then real estate syndications might be the perfect way to actually dip your toes in the water like it was for me. Now, if you're ready to learn more about passive real estate investing, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got over 400 videos right now on these different types of topics. I've also put together a free training on how to get started with syndications that can help you take that next step in your financial journey. I actually put the link below this video. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.